Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Northern Engineers Power Talks. Today I'm delighted to speak to Luke Tan, who is the Chief Product Officer and co-founder at Supercritical, which is a Teesside based, I also have a base in London, but Teesside based innovator in hydrogen technology. Welcome, Luke. It's lovely to speak to you today. Can I just start by asking, just obviously given a very brief overview of what you do, can you just go into a little bit more detail of what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me on the show. So Supercritical is a technology company, first and foremost. We're developing a new type of technology that will help produce hydrogen at lower cost than is able to be produced today. Now, why do we need to produce hydrogen? Hydrogen is ultimately an energy carrier. It's a chemical. It's a molecule. It's actually one of the molecules that's used across industry today for production of things like fertilizer or for chemicals like methanol that help go into things like plastics, pharmaceuticals, but also in refining some of our fuels like petrol and diesel to make them cleaner for our internal combustion engine vehicles. It's one of those molecules that we don't really worry about too much because it always sits in the value chain of the production processes. But actually, 100 million tons of hydrogen are produced every year. It's the biggest commodity no one ever talks about.
Why is that? Why does no one talk about it, particularly in the current environment, which is obviously very, very difficult in terms of oil, gas?
Yeah.
So why don't people talk about it?
I think if you're not in the industry of chemical production, it's not a thing you ever come across. So hydrogen it's produced and then it's used pretty much straight away. So when you're making fertilizers, which then ultimately go to farms, help produce crops, those crops then end up on our plates, and we manage to feed this 7 billion population that we've got in the world. That frankly wouldn't be possible without hydrogen. It wouldn't be possible without synthetic fertilizers. We've managed to exploit them. The challenge we've identified is that whilst hydrogen is imperative to our normal way of life today because we're so dependent on things like fertilizer, it actually is a major problem as well. So, our goals as a society are to achieve net zero to help decarbonize industry. And the hydrogen production process alone is responsible for 2% of the world's emissions. Now, that's a big win if you can manage to decarbonize that. And that's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to do that by using green methods to reduce the carbon footprint of the hydrogen produced and ultimately enable some of the biggest industrial players to switch from fossil fuel sources to renewable sources. And our technology, which is essentially an electrolyzer, which is a technology that takes water in and renewable energy in and splits that water, H2O, into H2, hydrogen, and oxygen. The H2 can then be used to produce valuable chemicals and other things like fertilizers. And ultimately, that would displace a current process that uses natural gas or sometimes even coal, which has the capacity to produce 10 times more CO2 than it does hydrogen. So it's a real challenge that we're making really strong progress on trying to address.
So it's literally super efficient. And would you say that maybe the government needs to invest more in hydrogen technology, or how can this be facilitated, this sort of hydrogen revolution, if you like?
Yeah, it's a great question. We are one of many entities, companies, technologies trying to solve this problem. We think we're highly differentiated because we basically started from scratch about 5 years ago, when my CTO, has a very unique expertise in both high pressure systems and electrochemical systems, basically brought together this idea of using high pressure and high temperature to make electrolysis significantly more efficient. Now, that was only an idea, only a piece of drawing on a piece of paper back in 2020. And we've gone from strength to strength over the last 5 years, building out our technology, getting more and more data and evidence. And actually, we built a demonstration facility up in Teesside, which is where we do all of our large scale testing. The support from government to date actually has, I certainly can't say anything bad about it. We had our first sort of push into this technology was supported by a grant from Innovate UK, which is a UK government funded program. And one of the projects that we just recently published our final report on was called the Whiskey Project. And that too was funded by the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero. That helped us build the capacity out in Teesside.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, the Whiskey Project?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a really exciting project. It helped us go from lab technology through to a first industrial scale demonstration. And it also helped us engage with industry, which is always really important for us. We're always trying to understand truly what the market needs so that we can tailor our technology to ensure that it meets the needs of our customers. We found a perfect partner in this project who was Suntory Global Spirits. They, you may be familiar with brands like Lafroig or Auchentoshan or Teacher's Whiskey, Sipsmith Gin, lots of household names that we all love to have a tipple on the weekend with. They want to ultimately achieve net zero by 2040. So in this project, not only did we take our technology out of the lab and demonstrate that we can produce hydrogen at the same efficiencies that we have in the lab, but we also ran an industrial scale pilot with Suntory, giving them hydrogen expertise, helping them understand how that would actually work, what the limitations of the process could be, what the benefits of the process could be, and worked with them through that every step of the way. They ultimately ran a distillation process out in one of their pilot distilleries in Japan, producing hydrogen-powered spirit for the first time ever. Now, I'm really happy to say that actually we now have 2 barrels of spirit in maturation with Suntory Global Spirits.
Fantastic.
So when those are matured in 10, 20, whenever they decide is the right...
You'll be having a bit of a celebration.
Yes, we will. We will indeed. So it's a huge...
and that takes place at Teesside, you said. Why Teesside? Can you tell us why you chose Teesside?
It's a great question. So the company was founded in London, but space is a premium in London. It's hard to build things that are bigger. Teesside has this incredible history in process engineering and technology. In fact, I would say that it is essentially the hub for hydrogen today. BOC Linde has one of the largest hydrogen plants in the UK based on Teesside. The people, the resources, the skill sets that have been developed there over the last 5 to 10 decades are perfect for what we want to do. We actually kicked off a piece of, essentially it started as an engineering design package with a company out in Teesside who were very well placed to be able to support us. With that, we sort of just built up a relationship with a number of different companies in the region who were all very well placed to support us. Now we have our own facility up there. We employ a team of people up in that facility. That's on the Wilton site up over on Teesside. And it's ultimately a fantastic base to continue to do what we do, but on a larger scale that we just couldn't achieve in London.
Okay, fantastic. We've come to the end of the show now, but just to finish, anything you can tell us, in a few sentences, anything you'd like to announce, any plans for the future that, are obviously public at the moment?
Yeah, so, I guess the next big thing to look out for is ourselves piloting our technology. So development and taking to market of a new hardware technology in the energy space is a stepwise process. Further, making things bigger, making things more capable, making things safer is all part of the process. So leveraging everything that we've learned so far on Teesside, we're soon, over the next year or so, going to be taking our technology to a pilot in an operational facility. We've actually just announced that we're working on pilot opportunities with 2 of the world's biggest companies. So Shell, one of the biggest oil and gas majors with huge plans for hydrogen, and Valterra, who's one of the stronger mining companies in and around the platinum group metal groups, who also have a very strong interest in seeing the success of the hydrogen market come to light. That's just 2 of the ones that we're working on that we can share, but we've got a few other exciting opportunities in the pipeline as well.
Sounds a very exciting time at the moment. Luke, I just wanted to say huge thank you. It was a fascinating discussion today, and best of luck with everything.